Hello everyone, this is the Bro That Survived. I'd like to thank Mr. Clotworthy one last time for taking the time out of his day to do this with me. It was really a blast, and the interview was fun to do and fun to learn from, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. And now, without further ado, I present to you my interview with Mr. Robert Clotworthy. So what was the experience like going in voice acting for a relatively well-known video game company as a well-known character from a well-known game?
Well, I was the original voice of Rainer back in '98, and it's a ton of fun. I mean, going in and playing a character like Rainer, he's so it's as an actor, he's so rich of a character. There's so much happening that it's really challenging and exciting to play a role like that, because oftentimes as actors we don't get to play well-rounded characters like that, and to really kind of dig into the history of the character and his background and what he's been through, and it's really challenging but exciting. And Chris Metzen is a fantastic writer. He created this incredible game and this incredible world of StarCraft and this really truly amazing character. And you've got a director like Andre Romana, who is, I would say the best animation director on the planet right now. I think she's won 7 or 8 Emmys. So you put together great script, great creative mind, great director, and hopefully, decent talent, and you come up with some good stuff. The opportunities are there. So it was a fantastic experience. The experience continues. It's not over. I feel like I've been on a high for the last couple years since I got cast to come back to portray Rainer once more. And I know we've got at least another couple of games ahead of us, or as I like to say, another couple of chapters in the saga.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm a fan of the game as well as being in it, and I don't look at myself as any, I guess, more important than anybody else that's playing the game. We're all on this ride together. I just happen to have kind of a cool gig. I mean, come on. I mean, who wouldn't want to play Rainer? I mean, he's courageous, he's macho, he's sensitive, he's conflicted, he carries a lot of baggage, but he still battles through. He's got an incredibly strong spine, and and I really enjoyed where the story started in this particular chapter, in this latest game, because he's really at the bottom, and we've all been there. If we haven't been there, you will be there at some point in your life, and you have to basically challenge yourself and look at your circumstances and say, what am I made of? Do I have what it takes to pull myself up and fight again? And it's exciting for an actor to start at that place, because it gives you so many great places to go. And so I know I kind of went on a little bit, but it's been terrific, and I'm looking forward to more and more. We've already started work on the second chapter, and I think the fans are going to be pretty excited as to where the story goes. It's really it's not where you would expect it to go. I'll put it to you that way. Blizzard is pretty good, and Chris is terrific about coming up with interesting surprises for the characters. So I'll just kind of whet your appetite with that a little bit.
All right, I'll set my expectations high then.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, I've learned in life, since you're young, I'll give you a little bit of advice. Expectations are what's going to create a lot of pain in life. So as an actor, as a person, I have zero expectations. And when I have zero expectations, when things go well, man, it's really fantastic. If they don't go well, you go, oh, I'm not disappointed. Now, I'm not saying that the game is going to be disappointing. I'm just saying, just enjoy what's going on right now, so that when the next chapter comes along, you can be really shocked and surprised.
All right, I just got some life advice from the Captain Jim Raynor.
There you go.
It's like being on Dr. Phil, but with Robert Clotworthy instead.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you a story. There was on Facebook, I have a lot of fans, and everybody's been really, really positive and nice, and I get all these sweet messages from people. I mean, you sent me some really nice words that mean a lot to me. I really like to interface and speak with the fans because, hey, listen, it's fun to do. It's fun for the fans. It's fun for me. And everybody's been really nice, except for one guy who sent me some weird message. And I think, actually, it was on Twitter. And he said, if there was a bright spot in the universe, you would be in the corner that's furthest from it. And I thought, man, that came out of left field. Why is this guy so angry and hostile? So I kind of thought about what I would say to him. And my initial reaction, of course, was I just wanted to rip him a new one. Then I thought, no, let's be a little bit more clever than that. So I said, all pain comes from unfulfilled expectations and desires. And then I, of course, untwittered him. But there you go. So I went a little Buddhist spirituality on the guy.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'll write that one down.
Yeah. Now I'm not. For me, I don't agree with half of that. Where I think desire is critical, because if you don't have desires, you don't have goals. You can't. You're not going to find cures for diseases. But if you expect things to happen just because you're you, life doesn't work out that way. I mean, you're going to get some bad things happening. You're going to get some great things. I'm much more into living in the here and now and enjoying it, and it tends to kind of keep me peaceful and certainly appreciative and hopefully humble.
That's cool. I agree with most of that too. That's
cool. Pretty
awesome. All right, my next question. As an actor myself, I spend time memorizing a bunch of lines.
Right.
As Sheridan Whiteside, I had to memorize damn near their entire script.
Oh yeah.
So, my question for you is, do you remember any of the lines that you did as Jim Raynor, or perhaps any other roles that you've had in the past?
Pretty much no. It's all short-term memory. I mean, I find that there are tricks that I have to do when I'm memorizing lines. Especially with, like, for example, I was on a soap opera, Young and the Restless, for quite a few years, and we would have literally a mountain of dialogue that we would have to say every day, and it's like doing a one-act play a day with a bunch of stuff. And also the scenes that go from day to day, not a lot changes between the scenes, so quite often you're kind of saying the same thing every day, but only slightly differently. And it's easy to get totally confused as to what day you're on and go into some speech that is really tomorrow's speech or yesterday's speech when you really need to do today's speech. So I would have different levels of memorization. If I was, let's say I had 3 or 4 days in a row, I would certainly know the lines that I was doing the next day down pat. But the lines after, for like, say 2 days from now, I would have a fairly good idea of what it was going to be. And if it was 3 or 4 days out, I would have only kind of read the script a little bit to kind of familiarize myself with the story, but really hammer it in, the day before I'm going to work. And then I have like little tricks. If there's let's say that there's 3 words in a row that I just have a hard time memorizing, I would remember the first letter of each. Like it was, say the line is, I'll be there tomorrow, and I couldn't remember that it was be there tomorrow. And I'd say, it's BTT. I have to be there tomorrow. So BTT. And it'd be easy for me to remember. Now, as far as Raynor is concerned, there were so many lines. Whenever you go into a recording session, and it's generally a 4-hour session on a game, they have a line count. And it might be 80 lines, 90 lines, 20 lines, whatever it might be. But for Rayner, when I would go in there, all they would say was a lot. So there was no specific count. And also, I don't get the script in advance. As you can imagine, the script for StarCraft is got to be like pretty thousands of pages. I mean, there's so much dialogue from all the different characters that there's no way that you could read it, and also it's not going to make a lot of sense because a lot of it is very specific stuff to scenes that I may not be in, or it relates to stuff that the character or the game the way that you're playing the game kind of goes off on a slight little tangent. But also as an actor, for me, I didn't want to know what was going to happen ahead of time. I knew that the lines were going to be there, so I don't have to worry about memorization. And as far as the characterization is concerned, I'm pretty well locked into the Rayner character. Generally, if they've cast me, they like what I'm doing, so I don't have to do a lot of adjustments at that point. And plus, I've got Chris and the great director, Andrea Romano, who's going to be able to tell me what's happening in a specific scene. Because, they'll talk about things that, I have no idea what it is. I mean, they'll talk about, at the time, Marsara or Char, and I'll go, what does that mean to me? And they'll explain what's going on in the scene. Then the last little piece of the pie for me as the actor is when I'm reading it, since I am a fan of the story in the game, when something surprising happens in the game, it will surprise me, or I'll have some kind of a gut reaction as Robert Clotworthy, me reading it, and I'll think, okay, that's my honest reaction to what's going on here. I'm going to see if I can incorporate elements of that honest reaction into the character, because good acting comes from the truth, and as long as I'm able to convey that truth and open to whatever it might be, and then am willing to convey that to the audience, I think they're going to go along with me. So that's kind of my process in a nutshell, kind of the Reader's Digest version when it comes to doing something like Rayner.